ever heard of the Sultan of SWAT? The Titan of Terror. The Colossus of Clout? The Colossus of Clout.
The king of crash, man.
So, I lied.
Oh, yeah, the Great Bambino. Of course. I thought you said the Great Bambi. That wimpy deer?
Hey, Cassettes, welcome back to another episode of the Black Case Diaries. I was considering doing it like a old school announcer or something, but it just didn't have it. Maybe whatever.
Welcome.
Yeah. We're three old friends learning everything we can about movies and TV and hopefully teaching you in the process. I'm Adam.
I'm Marcy.
I'm Robin.
Back in the early 90s, audiences experienced a film that made them feel so nostalgic, it morphed from a mildly successful hit into a cult classic.
Yeah. Nostalgia.
Uh-huh. The Sandlot found the magic formula previously perfected by productions like A Christmas Story and The Wonder Years. It balanced the references and experience that older adults would recognize with the comedic sincerity with which all children could relate.
Yeah, the thing about The Sandlot, that's what we're talking about this week.
Yes.
Woo,
Yeah.
The Sandlot! Yeah.
Heck yeah.
The thing about The Sandlot is it's a lot like A Christmas Story, but it's summertime. You know, it's narrated, you know, all that.
Yeah.
We watched this movie every summer when I was a kid at 4th of July. My dad loved watching it with us because it took place during a time when my dad was a kid.
Yes.
So this was a movie that you could watch with adults, and it was like you both really enjoyed it.
Yes. The Sandlot was so popular among children of the 90s, watching it was almost like a rite of passage. Growing up, it was the movie that many children could quote with perfection, from the hilariously dramatic "Forever" to the universally adopted "You're killing me, Smalls." But the movie didn't just appeal to kids. The film crossed the generational divide, placing adults and kids on a level field. Everyone who loved the film also seemed to connect with it for the same reasons. It didn't matter what sport you loved, if any, or if you grew up in the city instead of a rural town. The Sandlot tapped into the magic of summer, the thrill of childhood problems, and the strength between childhood friends.
Yeah.
Yep.
This was a movie that you felt nostalgic for, even if it didn't even resemble your childhood
Yeah.
in any way.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even watching it the first time, you felt nostalgic about the story of the movie and also the movie itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like double nostalgia bomb, and it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, that's what it's like now when we watch it. Because we
Yeah.
watch it now, and
Yeah.
it's like it just reminds us of our childhood because we watched this growing up.
Yeah.
But also, you know, when you're
Just
watching
layers.
the movie,
Yeah.
you're like, man, I remember when I cared about dumb things. You know, that's
Yep.
it's kind of one
Yep.
of those things that you think about when you're watching it.
Or when you're scared of doing something new, like you're like,
Yeah.
I really think I'd like this, but like I might really suck at it. And then like you
Yeah.
try it and you're like, I don't want to suck in front of these awesome people that
Dude.
already know it. Like
Yeah.
even I wasn't very big on playing baseball or anything, I feel like, as a kid. I know I
Yeah.
did softball. I know, yeah. But you could just relate with how the kids felt.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said here, it doesn't necessarily have to be about a sport
Yeah.
or
Yep.
baseball or anything. There are a lot of things where you get that same feeling. So, as the summer winds down, let's head back to the Sandlot and learn all about its history.
Yay!
Yeah. Oh man.
Man, I love baseball.
Yes.
It's my favorite sport. And I loved this movie for a lot of reasons. I wanted to dress like the boys in the movie.
Yes.
I remember I started wearing Converses. I asked for Converses for Christmas, you know, and my sister was like, "Why?" And I was like, well, "That's what they wear in the Sandlot, you know. They wear Converses."
Yep.
And I would cuff my jeans like the boys do.
Yep.
You know, and all of that stuff. And yeah, and I love baseball. So I was really familiar with the history in the movie, the things that they talk about. My dad's a huge sports guy, and he would tell me, and he was more like a Smalls, not like a Benny, more like a Smalls, where, you know, he knows everything about the sports, didn't really play them.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And I think that, just because I knew all of that history behind it, the movie was really special.
Yeah.
I loved it so much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is one of the rare movies, again, that I was able to watch as a kid.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I of course loved it for that. And just the boys and the PF Flyers.
The PF
too.
Flyers.
I was like, I kind of always wanted a pair of those. Still haven't got a pair of those.
I had a pair.
Yeah?
My sister got me a pair from a Goodwill.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
dang.
Nice.
Heck yeah. Did you run faster and jump higher?
Yes. You know what?
You did. Yes,
Definitely.
definitely.
For sure,
Yep.
it's not a
Because
placebo.
science, it does it. Yeah.
It's funny. This is one of those movies where I definitely did purposefully watch it, but I caught it on TV a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it would be almost over. Sometimes it would be right in the middle.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was just starting. But I would watch it every time because it's just got so many good moments. Again, the nostalgia. It's so much fun, and rewatching it is something that I could do at any moment.
I think you and I watched it together once.
Did we?
Yeah, I think you came over and we watched it in my basement.
Oh, sounds about right.
On my VCR.
I feel like I would have done that.
All right, so now is the time for a little summary of the movie if you haven't had a chance to watch this one. In the summer of 1962, Scotty Smalls moves into a new neighborhood. Desperate to make friends, Smalls joins a group of local boys that play a daily game of baseball on a nearby sandlot. This lovable group of kids reluctantly accepts Smalls, despite the fact that he knows nothing about baseball. The boys get into all sorts of adventures throughout the summer. One day, one of the boys busts open their last ball. Eager to please his buddies, Smalls runs home and swipes a replacement ball from his stepdad's office. Funnily enough, Smalls hits his first ever home run with it, knocking it over the back fence and into the territory of the Beast, a famously vicious dog. When Smalls explains to the others that the ball was signed by baseball legend Babe Ruth, the group spends the rest of the summer concocting ways to retrieve the ball.
Oh, man.
I love how this movie just covers the gambit of summer. Because it's not this movie doesn't take place over a week.
No.
Nope.
It's their whole summer pretty much, and I love
Yeah.
that. It's such an interesting thing to do.
Yeah, you see it's paced really well, and like you get to know the kids first, and they establish that Scotty knows nothing about baseball, so much so that he doesn't know who Babe Ruth is, which I feel like in 1962 would be kind of like, what?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
To be honest, especially watching it now, I'm like, how did that stepdad not say anything about baseball? Like, why was he, when he was putting, because they very, very clearly show you, like, him putting the baseball on that little tripod type stand, and you can see Scotty is watching him, and the stepdad, he has
Could
to
have
know.
said, like,
he could have been like, hey, come in here. Let me tell you about this ball. But he didn't.
It's this really, it's kind of almost like a B plot in the movie,
Yeah.
but like, it's this really awkward relationship between him and his stepdad. They don't know how to be around each other. They don't know. And I feel like it really highlights the relationship between fathers and sons in general, and like throughout time, and like you know what I mean, because I think that it can be a really difficult relationship, and especially where he's like a stepdad and he just got into his life, and it's just kind of like they don't have that communication, and you know what I mean.
Scotty, he even like questions like, do I call him dad? Do I call him?
And his mom is constantly trying to get Bill to warm up to her son. She's like, come on, you need to
just put in a little effort.
You need to help. You need to do something.
We're already married.
Yeah,
so
he's a kid. You gotta
work on it.
Yeah. And so, like, you see her kind of doing that. But, I think in this time period, it really was, like, the mothers were the nurturers. And they, there really wasn't a lot of that.
That's true.
Yeah,
It
going
does
on.
a good job of showing that.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Because now it's like, man, that's so frustrating.
It is.
Right?
It is frustrating. It's but it gets better and as the movie goes, All right. So we're going to talk a little bit about how the movie was made.
Just a little bit.
The Sandlot was written by Robert Gunter and David Mickey Evans. Evans also directed and narrated the film. The film was actually loosely based on Evans's childhood, specifically an event that happened to his little brother, Scott Evans.
Uh-huh.
Here's the story. David and Scott were the new kids in their California neighborhood just north of Los Angeles. Although he had been bullied by the other kids, Scott went to watch them play a neighborhood game of baseball. When the ball inevitably got knocked over the fence, Scott agreed to retrieve it in the hopes that it would earn him points with the others and the bullying would cease. The boys boosted him over, and Scott soon realized that a large dog named Hercules waited on the other side. Because the dog had been chained up, Scott went to grab the ball. The chain snapped, and Hercules chased Scott to a gnarled tree at the edge of the yard. Although he made it up the tree, the dog still got a hold of his leg. On his way home, Scott's mother picked him up and took him to the hospital.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Not quite such a happy
I
ending
know, it's
there
not
with the
so
doggy.
it's not so Hollywoody
No.
there. Many pieces of the original story made it into the film. The visual of the chain snapping, right? You guys remember that part in the
Yep,
movie
I
when the chain
do.
breaks? The name of the dog, and of course the issue of getting a baseball that had been hit over the fence. The real-life Hercules was actually a German Shepherd Doberman Pinscher mix.
Oh, boy. There's a reason why German Shepherds are chosen for, like, police dogs
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
military
for
dogs.
jobs. Yeah.
Yeah, I
'Cause
think if
they're
you
just-
train them, they're really obedient and like really,
Yeah.
but like God, they're scary.
They'll mess you up, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
When he was writing the screenplay, David decided to recast the neighborhood boys as his friends and heroes, which helped him create the lovable gang of kids that we all remember from the film. Evans felt it was a cathartic way to forgive the young boys from his youth for the way they treated him and his brother. You know, in the beginning of the movie, they are kind of bullies.
They
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
Yeah.
They really are. I mean, they don't want him to play. Benny has to convince them,
Yeah.
you know, like, no,
Right.
no, we need another person. The original title of the movie was The Boys of Summer, which also happened to be the name of a 1972 nonfiction book by Roger Kahn. The Boys of Summer was about the Dodgers, and it was also a baseball book.
Yeah.
David Evans claimed that Kahn threatened to sue him if he gave the movie the same name, and Evans understood that it needed to change.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Because people might have thought that the movie was based on the book.
Oh, yeah. Especially if it
True.
was
Oh,
a
good.
baseball movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
The field that the kids use in the movie wasn't originally written as a sandlot, but as a schoolyard. Evans explained in a Sports Illustrated interview that he grew up playing on the diamond at a local school when classes were done for the summer. The final name for the movie came about after it had been cut together. Because the kids mentioned the Sandlot so often in the film, Evans and the rest of the team decided that it made sense to call it the Sandlot.
Very interesting. Because
Yeah.
it doesn't really even look like a baseball diamond
It
at all,
doesn't,
and-
no. Yeah, it's just a big old patch of sand.
Yeah, and they just have some things.
Yeah,
as
like the bases out
yeah.
there, and yeah, it's all like makeshift. Like the kids kind of
it's
came
like
up
a
with
trash
everything.
can lid or something like that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's funny that if they had done it at a schoolyard, it would have at least presumably been an actual baseball
Yeah.
diamond. Interesting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is, and I love that it's called The Sandlot because I think that it it really grounds the movie in one place, you know, and because so much, what else could you have called the movie?
Right.
Yeah, I
you know,
But
besides the
nothing
Boys of
else.
Summer, right?
Yeah.
You know, they're really, I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
The swimming pool adventure. No. I'm
yeah, I know.
The baseball boys.
The baseball boys.
just kidding. Baseball.
Smalls balls. I don't know.
Balls.
Yeah, I think calling it the Sandlot is really cool too because it feels like the Sandlot itself is like a
Yeah.
character. You know?
Yeah.
And that's
It's
something that's really fun.
Yeah, it's the hub. It's where
Yeah.
everything goes
Yeah.
down. It's the grounding point of the whole movie because to the kids, it's, you know, in a lot of movies like this, the perspective of the kids, everything is larger than life, even though they're just playing baseball in a lot. You know?
Yeah.
But this is their whole life right now.
Yeah.
And it's very serious.
Yeah. The Sandlot was filmed over the course of 42 days in the community of Glendale on the west side of Salt Lake City, Utah. Utah provided a similar visual setting to California and was a much more affordable option than Los Angeles. The production team scouted locations like elementary schools and Little League fields, but nothing seemed to fit the aesthetic of the film's time period. Production designer Chester Kaczynski decided that they would need to find a place and build it someplace with homes built in the 50s and 60s. They discovered a plot of land that was owned by the homeowners in the surrounding neighborhood. The production team made a deal with the owners, which allowed them to build everything they needed for the production in that spot. This included sets like Mr. Myrtle's house, the backstop, and the massive tree house. The empty Sandlot is still there today and is still owned by the neighborhood. The exterior of Scotty's and Benny's homes were actual houses in the neighborhood that are still privately owned.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's like they kind of had this run of the neighborhood and they were just filming
Yep.
everything there.
I wish they would have, or at least I hope they'd have some kind of thing in the lot. It's maybe just a little sign
A little plaque.
that says the sound.
Yeah,
the
this
Sandlot.
is the Sandlot.
Yeah. One of the hardest sets to build was the treehouse, which is a central set piece in the film. Evans did not have a large budget, and he knew that buying a tree big enough to hold a treehouse could cost hundreds of thousands of dollars.
I mean, God.
Yep.
Yeah, wood is expensive already. Still in
Right.
tree form, I feel like.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's like, well, why don't you just plant one
Yeah, and wait,
and
how
wait
many years?
300
Yeah.
years?
Yeah.
Production designer Chester Kaczynski happened to be driving by a historic home that was roughly 200 years old, with a massive oak tree. Just as he was passing the house, Chester saw that a man was starting up a chainsaw to cut down the tree. He stopped the man, who told him that the tree was destroying the foundation of the house and needed to be removed. Chester asked if they could use it for the film.
How
Wow.
amazing.
Yeah, incredible.
How convenient.
Yes. I
Yeah.
mean, honestly.
It's like fate.
Fortuitous.
Yes.
yeah.
Fortuitous. Yes.
Yeah.
In just a few days, the production team acquired 2 50-foot flatbed trailers and connected them together. In order to transport the tree, they had to call the phone and power companies, asking them to remove the lines so that they wouldn't snag on the humongous oak.
Imagine
Yeah.
Jeez, oh,
how,
man.
what a pain in the ass that was for the people that live in that neighborhood.
Yeah. Oh my god.
You imagine how
Yeah.
mad they were probably like, sure, yeah, you can use our Sandlot. Yeah, sure, that's
Yeah,
fine. And then they're
and
probably
then-
like,
No power for how long?
it's 1992. We can't call people from our houses. What are we gonna do?
I thought this was the future. It's the 90s.
Once they managed to get the set piece to the Sandlot set, they used a big crane to dig a hole, placing the tree inside and filling the hole with about 15 to 20 cubic yards of cement. To ensure that the leaves would remain green throughout the shoot, the production team replaced millions of natural leaves with silk ones.
Yeah,
Wow.
that tree looks great in this
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
It looks
Oh, yeah.
fantastic.
So if they didn't remove it and it had the silk leaves, maybe they still look pretty good.
Yeah.
yeah,
Except
maybe.
they're-
Well,
except they're
Except
old.
the base of the tree would be rotted out.
Yeah.
Oh, true.
I
yeah.
imagine.
Yeah, probably not very good.
Dang it.
Not very good.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah.
I know one of the cast members, one of the kids, said that they actually took home some of the silk leaves after
Oh,
shooting.
nice.
They took some. and
cool.
They used it to decorate. It's like in their kitchen or something
That's
now.
Oh, that's really cool.
The Sandlot would not have become the cult classic we know and love today without the team, a cast of quirky and lovable tweens.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
sir.
Anyway, Scott, that's Timmy and Tommy Timmons. Mike Squints Pelladors. Alan McLennan, we call him Yeah. Bertram Grover Weeks, Kenny DeNunez, and Hamilton Porter. We call him Ham. Guys, this is Scott Smalls.
Hi.
Originally, David Evans wanted younger boys to portray the characters, like aged 9 or 10. When casting began, he quickly realized that this age would be much too young on screen, and raised it to 12 or 13-year-old boys. Grant Gelt played Bertram, the team's second baseman. Bertram didn't have a lot of lines, but Gelt was clearly talented, and Evans would find things for him to say in the film. Gelt originally read for Smalls, but was called back in to read for Bertram. Gelt later said that Evans picked the kids and not the characters. When he looks back at the movie, he sees a lot of himself in the character. His favorite scenes to film were either the 4th of July scenes, where the boys play baseball at night, or the carnival scenes. In one famous scene, he sneaks a pack of chewing tobacco for the kids to all try. The boys take a piece and immediately hop on a ride. Oh, gosh. As the song Tequila plays, the boys collectively get sick all over the ride.
You guys remember this part, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Ba-dum-ba-ba-ba-bum-bum.
Oh, gosh.
The poor other people riding.
I know. You feel so bad. People are
They just
vomiting
get
on people's feet and stuff.
covered
Yeah.
in, this tobacco.
It's a whole
slash
team.
puke.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
whole team of kids barfing on the ride at the same time.
Director Evans actually wanted the song Wooly Bully for this scene, but the musicians behind the song wanted too much money.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
The soundtrack for this movie is really interesting, like the music, the needle drops that they do throughout. So, like, this scene, you think of this scene, you think of the song Tequila,
Yeah, yeah.
which fits so much better than
It
Wooly
does.
Bully anyway.
Right?
Yeah.
One of the most memorable things about Bertram is his ambiguous ending. As the film wraps, the adult Smalls provides a voiceover explaining what happened to each member of the team. He says that Bertram got really into the 60s and no one ever heard from him again.
Yep.
Yeah. It's
Craziness.
okay.
Yeah, we're
What
all
happened
like,
to Bertram?
what really happened to Bertram?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know some people have speculated that maybe when he says got really into the 60s, they mean like he got really into like drugs. Maybe.
Yeah.
Like the 60s like counterculture or whatever.
Yeah. Brandon Adams played Kenny DeNunez, the pitcher. David Evans described Brandon Adams as a very polite and cool kid that hasn't changed much as an adult. Adams was one of the last kids cast for the film and had to learn how to pitch for the part. He joked that he almost broke a few cameras. As the pitcher, Kenny's signature pitch was the heater. He was also considered to be one of the best players on the team. As Adult Smalls explains, that he went on to play professional baseball, just never in the major leagues.
Yeah. He says that he played AAA ball or something like
Yeah.
that near the end of the movie. And he also says that he coaches a little league team called the Heaters, named after his pitch.
Cute.
Yeah, it's super
right.
cute. I always liked Kenny.
Yeah.
Patrick Renna played Ham, the catcher.
Aha.
Renna was great at ad-libbing and would go on to star in several other films in the 90s. You've seen him in a few different places.
Yes, definitely.
He was also one of the last kids cast in the film and was told that if he got along with the other kids, he got the job.
Wow,
They
easy.
Yeah, they basically told him he came in for the interview and they needed to catch a plane that day to go to Utah. So he came in, they said, you got the part and you also have to catch a flight.
Yep.
Wow. Holy cow.
go.
What a thing for the parents, right?
Yeah.
Ham's smart mouth made him an audience favorite. He is, without a doubt, the most quoted character from the movie, with his most famous line being, "You're killing me, Smalls."
Hey, you want a s'more? S'more what? No, you want a s'more. I haven't had anything yet, so how can I have some more of nothing? Shut up! You're killing me, Smalls. All right.
He also delivered classics like, "You play ball like a girl." Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Dude.
Classic 1960s.
Classic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Classic 60s.
It's so funny because there's always a character like this,
Yeah.
but this one is so perfect for Sandlot. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It fits in this type of movie.
Yep.
Perfectly.
Yep. And such confidence too.
Yes.
Just
Oh,
like
yeah.
unapologetically like
So much confidence.
is-
I know
yeah.
there's a part in the movie where where he takes the bat and he points out
Yep.
into the field.
He calls a shot.
He's calling his shot, and they all laugh at him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know,
Because
it's
he
so,
would miss.
so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The great Hambino.
Yeah.
Oh.
Shane Obudzinski played Tommy Repeat Timmons, the right center fielder. At age 10, Shane was the smallest kid in the cast and played the youngest character, Timmy's younger brother. He also originally read for Smalls.
Yeah, that was back when they wanted the younger ages.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. He had a great sense of comedic timing, and his shtick was to repeat his brother without missing a beat.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Shane had already appeared in the 1991 film My Girl before The Sandlot.
Oh wow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Victor DiMattia played Timmy Timmons, the first baseman. DiMattia was always happy and smiling on set, and he loved the treehouse set with all the 1960s toys. Timmy and Tommy Timmons were neighbors to Mr. Myrtle, and their house was part of the sets built for the film. I think it's implied that it's his treehouse, that it's their treehouse
Aha.
that the kids are playing in. I don't think it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. Also, Timmy and Tommy Timmons is ridiculous because you can't have the last name Timmons and then name your child
Timmy.
Timmy
Timmy.
Timmons.
It's just-
I don't know. It's cute though in a
Yeah.
way.
It's cute.
Okay, but when he's 30, he's going to think
He's
it's
gonna
less
be
cute.
Tim Timmons.
Yeah.
As the kids plot to retrieve the baseball from Mr. Myrtle's yard, they orchestrate a mission from their treehouse that involves several vacuum cleaners and a pulley system. When the pipes get clogged, there's a massive explosion in the treehouse, and Timmy is the one trapped inside. I don't know
Whoops.
if you guys remember that part.
Yes, I do.
I love.
I remember when he walks out.
Yes,
Yep.
it's the it explodes.
Yep.
And you see this massive dust cloud.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go
And then
everywhere.
it's just like they don't even realize it, I think, yet that one of
No.
them's not there.
Yep.
And then you hear the slow footsteps as he
Yeah. He just walks out covered.
he shakes his
Absolutely
head,
covered.
and it's just like this sound effect. It sounds like you're clapping chalk erasers. Like,
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it barely does much of anything
Yeah.
to get anything out.
Yeah. So much comes out, but there's still so much left.
yeah. And he's
Yeah.
just like, we're going about this all wrong. I blame myself, really. You know?
Yeah. And it's stinks because it almost worked.
I know it
one.
was so
Yeah.
close.
They were so close.
It was such a
one.
good. It was such a good plan. Chauncey Leparty played Michael Squints Palladorus. Another fan favorite, Squints delivers some of the most iconic lines from the film and stars in the infamous lifeguard scene. Although the character is known for his trademark black horn-rimmed glasses, Leparty does not wear glasses in real life. He will, however, put them on for the fans at conventions and other appearances.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They maybe not recognize him otherwise.
Yeah.
I mean,
Maybe.
he's like, it's so entwined with the character.
Yes.
He
sure.
just does it.
Yeah.
He takes a lot of pictures with the fans, especially like I saw a lot of ones where kids were also dressed up as Squints.
Oh,
They
wow.
had the horn-rimmed glasses, and then they would get a picture with him with
Nice.
his horn-rimmed glasses.
Squints is the character tasked with telling the legend of the Beast, the horrifying monster dog that lives on the other side of the Sandlot fence. According to him, when Mr. Myrtle asked how long he had to keep his murderous dog locked up, the police's response was, forever. Forever. I love the scene where he
Yeah.
tells this story. I mean, he sets it up so well.
He does. Yeah.
Like it's this horror story. He's doing the thing with the flashlight. A long time ago, before any of us were old enough to pick up a baseball. They're 11. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like what, a couple like 2 years ago? Or?
Yeah. And I like how he increases some of the numbers and stuff. Because
Yes.
he'll be like, yeah, the Beast killed 120, 140, or I think maybe
Yeah.
it was 175.
Yeah.
But after a while, the cops started getting phone calls from people reporting all the missing thieves. The ones the Beast had killed. It added up to about 120, 173 guys. It's true. But they never found a single body. Not one. Some people say they all got away, but we all know what really happened. The beast ate them. He ate them bone and all.
And yeah, in this flashback, the dog is obviously basically like a baby dinosaur, and instead of putting the dog down, that's eating all of these people. They're just gonna chain him up,
Yep.
forever,
and forever, and just keep him in a yard around all these kids.
where kids play
right
baseball.
next to just a thin wooden fence between.
Matty York played Yeah, the third baseman. Evans noticed that York had a naturally quirky laugh, which he featured in the movie. York was originally cast as Bertram. One day during rehearsal, they came up to him and told him that they wanted him to read for a different part that would require a lot of energy. So, York's mother gave him a Hershey bar before the audition. In one scene, Yeah gets lifted over the fence to retrieve the ball. When he comes face to face with the beast, the other boys pull him out in a panic. Yeah screams and then blows a raspberry on his finger in the middle of his hysterics. This unscripted moment was inspired by Bugs Bunny cartoons. I don't know if you guys remember, he's like, and he takes a pause to go, like he's,
for some reason. I remember him doing that,
And it's just kind of like, I remember watching going, what is he doing?
Like, what?
The silliest thing.
He's just like sounding the alarm, like.
Yep.
York was in a bad car accident in 1997 and basically had to relearn how to walk. He got into physical therapy and then weight training. And if you've seen him recently, you might have noticed that he is quite buff.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
If you see him in interviews, he's...
Yeah. Because when I first was watching them now, I thought that was Benny. Like, my mind was like, oh, that must be Benny. And then it's like,
because he's
no.
so huge.
Yeah, that's...
He's what the kids call swole, I think.
Yes.
Jacked.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Tom Geary played Scotty Smalls, the film's narrator and the left center outfielder. According to IMDb, The Sandlot was Geary's acting debut. He remembers the hiring process being really long, but he ultimately landed the lead. Although his on-screen character was timid and shy, Tom was an outgoing 11-year-old.
Wow, that's crazy. I mean,
yeah,
landing a lead in your first ever role.
Yeah,
that's crazy, even if you're
good.
a kid.
According to Tom, David Evans's newborn was very sick during filming, and so Evans was flying back and forth from California and Utah.
Aww,
that's really hard.
Yeah.
As the lead, Smalls appears in many of the iconic scenes in the film, generally as an observer to the wild antics of his friends. He's the one that sets the plot in motion when he hits his first home run off of a Babe Ruth signed ball right into the clutches of the beast.
I know. The story's so poetic that way.
Yeah. All the times. Like,
Mike Vitar played Benny, the Jet Rodriguez.
Benny!
Mike Vitar was the first kid that auditioned for David Evans, which convinced him that he was right to choose older actors for the film. Evans auditioned thousands of others, but Vitar won the part.
Man, yeah,
nice.
He was perfect.
Yeah.
First try.
So good. Vitar was as kind as his character, and the other boys really seemed to look up to him, which really showed on screen. He was also naturally talented at baseball and performed almost all of his own stunts.
Yeah, the kids, it's so obvious that the kids have this level of respect for him. Mm-hmm. It makes sense that, in real life it was like that too.
Yeah.
They all kind of treat him like he's an older brother.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Although Smalls is the main character, Benny is the hero of the movie. Not only does he accept Smalls as a member of the team, he also saves the day at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Vitar's older brother, Pablo, played the older version of him at the end of the movie.
So cute.
Hey.
Oh, it's so cute.
It's like, no wonder he looks so much like him.
I know, yeah.
He left acting to become a firefighter.
Of course he did, because he is amazing.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
What a cool guy.
Very noble of him.
Yeah. Yep. So he's usually missing from the cast things because he's
off saving
being
lives.
a hero.
Right.
Besides the team, there were other standout performances from the supporting cast. Dennis Leary played Bill, the Smalls' stepdad. Not only does Smalls deal with not being accepted by the team, he also struggles with his awkward relationship with his new stepfather, Bill. Bill is interested in baseball, and he is the one that owns the ball that Smalls loses to the Beast.
Yeah.
Leary has been in many productions like The Thomas Crown Affair and Ice Age.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I love Diego.
I know! Diego is awesome. Karen Allen played Mom.
No other name, just Mom.
Oh. Allen is also known for portraying Marion in the Indiana Jones franchise.
Yeah.
Oh.
Very nice.
Yeah, and she
Very
has
good.
this really cool, like, little speech at the beginning of the movie where she's talking to Scotty, and she's trying to get him to go out and make friends, and she says, "Go, get in trouble."
Yeah.
You know,
She's like,
not too much, but some.
Yeah.
And I remember like watching that as a kid, and I was like, I want my mom to say that to me.
Right? Yeah.
I
Right?
want permission to get into trouble.
Yeah.
But yeah, she seems very supportive, and she at least tries really hard to get Bill to.
Yeah, she is very understanding that the situation that she's putting her son through must be tough.
Yeah.
So she's trying to get him to be like, hey, you know, be a kid, please.
Yes.
But
yes.
also, Bill, you need to freaking help
Yes.
with this.
Yeah. Will Horneff plays Phillips, the rival player.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Horneff didn't have to audition. He had gotten a role in the movie A Far Off Place. But in that movie, they decided to cast older kids for the roles, so getting the role of Phillips was kind of a consolation prize.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
It took about a week to film the famous face-off scene, where Ham traded insults with Phillips. This scene also includes the song Green Onions and the famous "You play like a girl" line.
Yeah.
Kids always come up with the craziest things you'd never think of.
Yeah, it's quite a gross scene. All of
Yeah.
the things that they say back and forth with each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
You eat dog crap for breakfast, geek. You mix your weenies with your mama's toe jam. Yeah! You bob for apples in the toilet, and you like it. You play ball like a girl.
It gets real quiet.
Yeah, like practice.
He pulled out the ultimate.
Yeah.
Yep.
The ultimate insult, I guess.
Yeah,
To
at least at that time.
a young boy
In the 1960s.
in the 1960s who only is surrounded by other young boys.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is the biggest insult.
Will drew inspiration from the bullies in his own life for the part. Yeah, he said he was on the smaller side, so he often got bullied. But,
Oh.
yeah. James Earl Jones plays Mr. Myrtle, the owner of the Beast / Hercules.
Oh, this was like one of our favorite parts when we were
oh,
kids.
Man, what a reveal
Yeah,
this is.
oh my gosh, yeah. To see James Earl Jones at the end of
Yeah.
this movie.
Especially because in the story that Squints tells, it is a totally different guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
they have no clue.
They don't know what he
Yeah,
looks like.
yeah.
Yeah. They're just so, when they're picturing the story,
Yeah.
this fantastical tale,
Yeah. Jones is known for his golden voice, playing the likes of Darth Vader and Mufasa in The Lion King. At the end of The Sandlot, he turns out to be a kind man that loves baseball, just like the boys. If they had just asked him for his help, they could have avoided all the trouble they endured all summer.
Yeah.
Right? Turns out to be like the best possible thing.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And he's so good at playing like kind of just like this grouchy old man. Like,
Yep.
oh, come on in, but like he's kind.
Sternly nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of how I would describe
Yep.
it.
Yeah. He's incredible because he senses it immediately. He's like, you're in trouble, son. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
something's
yeah.
wrong. Like, you're in trouble.
Yep. Nobody has ever gone
Yeah.
to this much trouble
For
Yeah.
for
to
just
get a baseball from my
Yeah.
yard.
You're in trouble, aren't you, son?
Yeah, well, that was my stepdad's ball. I took it without asking. It was signed by Babe Ruth.
George signed this?
George Herman Ruth? Yeah.
I take it back. You're not in trouble. You're dead where you stand.
Character actor Art LaFleur played Babe Ruth. After spending days trying to retrieve the ball, Benny has a dream featuring Babe Ruth, Walking straight out of a black and white photo, the famed baseball player tells Benny to simply hop the fence and get the ball.
He's like, go get it.
This is one of the like coolest moments in the movie for me, just because of he just walks out of the black and white. You know, it's really cool, actually.
Yeah, he's black and white and grainy too. You know,
Yeah,
so you can see like he's got the cigar in his mouth. Babe Ruth was known for always smoking cigars, and yeah,
he had the look.
Yeah,
the look down.
Just as he's about to walk back into history, Babe Ruth sees a Hank Aaron baseball card in Benny's room. He asks if he can have it, and Benny gives it to him. Back in 1962, Babe Ruth's home run record of 714 would remain unbroken for 12 more years until Hank Aaron shattered the record in 1974. This little joke was a nod to this piece of baseball trivia.
This joke is hilarious. It's very funny. The idea that Babe Ruth in 1962, the ghost of Babe Ruth in 1962, already knows that Hank Aaron is going to break his record. Because he walks up and he goes, Henry Aaron, mind if I have this? It's like, this is gonna be pretty valuable, you know?
Yeah. Because The Sandlot takes place in the 1960s, the actors got to wear a lot of fun period costumes. One of the most important costume pieces was the pair of PF flyers that Benny wears to take down the Beast.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
PF flyers were guaranteed in the ads to make a kid run faster and jump higher. And they were much more expensive than regular sneakers.
It's so funny because you can tell they're special because Benny brings them out in the shoebox.
Yeah.
And like it's something he never wears. You know?
Yeah. We're only using these in
just
the
today. Yeah.
Director David Evans remembered seeing and believing the ads as a child, and so he added this detail to the movie. Evans could never afford the shoes, so putting them in the movie was almost like a wish fulfillment.
Yeah.
Nice. Yep. Evans intended for the fence at the end of The Sandlot to be the dividing line between childhood and adulthood, and the PF flyers represented childhood as well. When Benny leaps over the fence, he brings a little bit of childhood with him as he enters adulthood and prepares to face the terrifying beast that waits for him on the other side.
Yeah.
The beast that is taxes. or something.
Yeah. Bills.
Sponsor Billary.
Those don't turn out so nice.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you can't run back over the fence.
Yeah. I know, and that's why it's so perfect. He jumps over. He gets back over the fence.
He does.
And it doesn't matter that he got back over the fence because the dog is coming after him right back over, and they have that beautiful chase scene to the tune of Wipeout. And yes, I love this chase. I love it so much.
Yeah.
And he runs through the town and they're doing their like Feather Founders Day festival and stuff. And all this, everything. And the part that I love the most is when he crashes a screening of The Wolfman.
Yes.
And right as that's going in, the beast busts through the screen.
Yep. Oh, it's so good. Another standout piece of costume was the long-billed hat worn by Smalls at the beginning of the movie. You know, the one that Benny tells him to burn.
Yeah.
This hat was inspired by hats that Evans and his brother Scott had received from their grandfather. When Evans was growing up in the early 70s, his grandparents and cousins all lived along the East Coast in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. His grandfather had a little boat and gifted them these hats that had long bills and a fish on the front. He and his brother wore them all the time and felt like real fishermen. This is one of Evans's favorite memories as a child.
Aww.
That's really sweet. Yeah. It is not expressly said in the movie, but Scotty supposedly moved from a place like Pennsylvania to the valley. When Evans told the costume director, Grania Preston, this story, she decided that she needed to find a long-billed hat with a trout on the front of it.
It's pretty ridiculous.
It looks so silly. He's so little. And
Right.
it's just
It
so
exaggerates how long it is. Yeah. I feel like, though, if I had one of those,
Yeah.
I would wear it because it would probably work better.
Yeah, it would protect your face
Yes.
from
Than the
sun
normal
and
hat,
stuff so
yeah.
much better.
With the hat on Smalls' head, it looks silly. But when the adult version of Smalls wears it at the end of the movie, you can see how it's the perfect visual tie to the beginning of the movie and represents who Smalls is as a character.
Yeah.
That's all we
Wrapped
need to
it up
see.
nice.
Yeah, at the end of the movie, we know that Smalls just because we see the hat. That's it.
Yep.
They don't have to say anything else, you know, because he's doing the announcing,
Yes.
Yeah.
you know, and he's up there and you just see, you know, he turns his head, you see the hat before you see his face.
Prop master Terry Haskell was a huge baseball fan and had his own collection of memorabilia. He pulled a Kansas City Monarchs hat from his collection and offered it up for filming. The hat would be worn by Brandon Adams, who played Kenny. Brandon himself was originally from Kansas, so the hat had a special connection to him.
That's nice.
Yeah.
The hat was part of the 1942 uniform of the Kansas City Monarchs, the most accomplished baseball team in the Negro Leagues with 13 titles, with their second title win in 1942. The hat's colorful style was a favorite among collectors because of its classic look, and it fit perfectly in the movie. Jackie Robinson was a Kansas City Monarch before he broke the color barrier in 1947. When the boys meet Mr. Myrtle at the end of the film, they learn that he also played in the Negro Leagues and knew Babe Ruth.
Yeah, so the hat really does have a really cool tie-in with the movie.
Yeah. The Sandlot is filled with several standout scenes that represent a childhood summer. There's the 4th of July evening picnic where the boys play under the light of a firework-filled sky. The scene where the boys all try tobacco for the first time to disastrous results. Or the scene where the boys have a slumber party in their treehouse. All of which are memorable. But possibly the most famous moment of the film is the iconic pool scene.
Right. Like, there's really famous
boy.
lines, right? And there's really,
Yeah.
you know, sure.
Yeah.
But the scene that's the most famous
Yep.
is the pool scene.
Yes. Most
No
certainly.
doubt.
Oh, boy.
When it's too hot to play a game of baseball, the boys will occasionally head down to the public pool. In this scene, Squints boldly hits on the lifeguard by pretending to drown and kissing her as she performs life-saving measures.
This is low.
You fool.
I mean, and they say it in the movie. They're like,
Yeah.
this is messed up. Like, you really shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
This is, oh my God.
Yep.
Oof, desperate.
Cool.
This scene was filmed at Lauren Farr Swimming Pool. For several weeks, the weather had been sweltering, reaching 110 degrees. But when it came time to shoot the pool scenes, the sky was overcast and the water was under 60 degrees. Oh,
no.
Yikes. So you might have noticed that the kids are shivering in the scene, and this is why.
Sometimes you feel cold standing outside the pool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if it's not that.
Right.
cold
Like,
out.
it's, yeah, you like cool off and then you get up and then
Yeah.
the wind
Yeah.
blows and you're
So-
like, ooh.
Yeah, so it's not completely unrealistic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Evans did not tell the boys who was going to play Wendy, the lifeguard. So her first scene in the movie was the first time the boys saw her as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Marley Shelton played Wendy. In the scene, they only had one chance to film her diving into the water because she would be too wet to try the take again. Marley is critical of the dive, saying that her feet are too far apart. But saving a life would probably earn Wendy style points.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what
I
you
think
look
it's
like
okay.
as a lifeguard.
Like, it's all good.
You got the job done, and that's what matters.
For weeks, Chauncey was nervous to do the scene, possibly because of the 7-year age difference between the actors.
I know. It's rough.
Yeah. Evans purposely didn't give him the schedule, so Chauncey would ask every day if they were shooting the scene. When it came time to shoot, he gave Chauncey one direction. He told him to keep his tongue in his mouth. which he did. And they got it in one take.
Okay. So we're going to talk. I'm going to do a little bit. I'm going to do the reception and fun facts
All right.
for the film.
Yes.
All right. So when The Sandlot was released, reviews are mostly favorable. The movie has a 64% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which I feel like is a little low.
Yeah.
Roger Ebert gave the movie 3 stars and said, "There was a moment in the movie when Rodriguez hit a line drive directly at the pitcher's mound, and I ducked and held up my mitt. And then I realized I didn't have a mitt. And it was then that I also realized how completely this movie has seduced me with its memories of what really matters when you are 12.
Yep.
That's it. That's the movie. There it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, where you're watching it and you're like, yeah, I remember when this was so important to me. Not necessarily this, like what's going on here, but just like the issues that I was having at this age and how they just, swallowed you whole. I remember being so scared of science fair. Like,
Oh my God.
I seriously, I remember telling my parents, like, I said, please, can I just go to sleep for 2 weeks and then just wake up? Like, I just want to sleep through
Skip
science fair.
Yep.
Yeah, like I was so scared to do science fair. The movie made around $40 million at the box office, which by today's standards doesn't seem like very much. However, the movie gained cult status once it was made available on VHS and DVD and made nearly twice its box office earnings.
It's craziness.
Wow. Yeah.
The film also saw additional releases on Blu-ray for its 20th and 25th anniversaries.
Yay.
It's so interesting to hear about, like its resurgence. Really, it felt like every single person I knew growing up had seen this movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Few movies have had as much of a positive impact on a generation as The Sandlot. Considered by many to be one of the best sports movies of all time, it reached multiple generations when it was released. Like kids who loved to play baseball and had big dreams, as well as adults who grew up in the 1950s or 60s and remember similar times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. It still feels like that, you know, the nostalgia for just childhood.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then for people of that generation, nostalgia for that specific childhood
Right.
Yep.
of the 60s.
Yeah.
So.
Watching it with my dad is so interesting because he always kind of gets really excited because he wasn't 12 in 1962, but he did grow up in the 60s.
Yeah.
So, and in a small town. And so, you know, he recognizes so many of the things that happens in the movie and, you know, the toys and the, you know, just the things they talk about. And
extra relatable.
Yeah.
To him. They really did a great job of placing this movie, which is why I think we all remember it as an older movie.
Yeah.
Because if you had asked me to guess when this movie came out, I certainly wouldn't have said 1993.
No,
Yeah,
it really
no.
feels way older than that.
Yeah.
Yep.
It really feels like it's like not necessarily a 60s movie.
Yeah.
But it really feels like it is older than 1993, partially because of the time period, but also because it had reached cult status by the time we were children.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, and we were born in the early 90s. So to
Yeah.
us, it's like, dude, how did that happen?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because usually cult movies have been around and like had their time of being like a not great movie.
Yeah.
And have come back around. It's interesting. It had a strangely different impact, you know?
Yeah.
Because it didn't smash box office records, but it got under people's skin.
Yeah. People remember this movie.
Yep.
So here are some fun facts. During the production, the kids snuck into a showing of the definitely not kid-friendly film Basic Instinct.
Oh boy.
It's kind of like I think the kids on screen would have been proud for that. That seems like a very
a very Sandlot thing to do.
yeah. The chewing tobacco that the kids try in the movie was made with licorice and bacon bits. Disgusting.
Gross.
Oh no.
I would throw that up too. Sorry.
Yeah. After several takes in the carnival ride, they felt almost as sick as the characters they were portraying. The vomit in the scene was a mixture of pea soup, baked beans, oatmeal water, and gelatin.
Ugh, gross. Dude.
It really looks like vomit.
Yeah, it does.
Why
The
didn't-
oatmeal was a nice touch.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Why didn't they do just licorice or just bacon bits?
I
Like,
know.
Why
Why both?
both?
Maybe it was to really keep the kids off of tobacco forever.
Maybe
it
they
was
were
like,
this is
yeah.
what
this is really what tobacco tastes like, kids.
Yeah.
Like maybe that's what
To
they
be
told
honest
them.
with you, I bet it's worse.
Yeah, I bet you it is.
Yeah.
Prop master Terry Haskell handed Dennis Leary a glove with a Mickey Mantle signature. He refused to wear it, saying, "Terry, for God's sakes, you've given me a Yankees glove, and I'm a Boston fan. I'm not wearing this."
Amazing.
And the prop master was a huge baseball person, so he probably knew what he was doing too.
Yeah. It's like, haha, wear this glove, sucker.
There was a scene that they ended up not having time to film where the boys were supposed to be over at Benny's house watching a Dodgers game. They were to see Maury Wills steal a base.
Oh.
That would have been interesting.
Yeah.
Because they had all these kind of loose ties to the Dodgers
Yes.
just because of where they were.
Yes.
But it would have
Yeah.
been interesting to see them really
Yeah, and because
tie it in.
Benny was destined to play for the
Yeah.
Dodgers, and he does at the end of the movie.
Yep.
And so, yeah. Besides being played by an English Mastiff, the Beast / Hercules was also a puppet in some scenes that had been operated by 2 people. At the end of the movie, Hercules licks Smalls' face. In order to get the dog to do this, the crew smeared baby food all over his face.
Oh, gross.
No. So if you guys remember, the fence collapses at the end of
Yeah.
the movie on top of the dog,
Yep.
and Smalls goes over and lifts the fence
Saves
off
it,
the dog,
yeah.
and the dog just absolutely slobbers all over his face.
Mastiffs already slobber like this. So to have it also be licking your face.
Yeah.
ugh.
The famed pool scene inadvertently saved a man's life when his 10-year-old twins performed CPR in him. They said that they remembered seeing it in his favorite movies, The Sandlot and Hook. In 2013, The Sandlot was screened at Dodger Stadium following a game.
Oh, that's real sweet.
Yeah, that's cute because of the Dodgers ties.
Yeah. I hope they won that game.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that's true. You don't really know. Yeah, at the end of the movie, they show Benny as an adult playing for the Dodgers, and he steals home.
How often does that happen in real life? Probably not
Rare.
very.
It's rare.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that you don't do very often.
Those PF Flyers, man.
A former classmate of David Mickey Evans sued 20th Century Fox for basing the character of Squints on him, causing him embarrassment. The judge dismissed the case due to lack of similarities between the character and the person filing the suit. The man's name was Michael Polydorus.
Oh,
Because his character's name is Michael Squints Palidorus or whatever.
Palidorus,
Yeah.
wow. That's ridiculous.
It's
man.
close.
Get that out of here.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Honestly, this movie, it doesn't really even feel all that dated.
Mm-hmm.
And there aren't any characters that you really dislike. You know,
Yeah.
even the quote unquote bad guys of the movie, the bullies or the beast, and the antagonists, I should say.
Yeah.
You can't hate anybody because it's just this great story of summer and the love of baseball
And friendship.
and friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
It is really cool. And it shows, just how it's just kind of this frozen in time story of
Yep.
the summer, which you can revisit over and over again. It never changes, and that's really
Yeah.
cool.
Right.
And at the end of the movie, they have that, kind of that montage of people fading away. When he's like, over time, kids moved away, and we had more summers, but none of them was like the first one, and that's,
Right.
it's just kind of
Right.
like,
Yep.
that's growing up, that's childhood, that's the way it goes.
Yep.
Yep.
So it's a perfect little picture
Yep.
of childhood and summer, and a very nice way to do a coming of age story.
And it's always fun to watch over and over again, especially around
Yep.
a time like 4th of July, because
Yeah.
it just puts you in that mood,
Yeah. And it's so funny.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
The kids really, believing that the beast is this actual monster that
Right.
will actually eat them.
Yeah.
You know, and by the end of the movie, it's like, how did we believe that? That's so crazy,
Right.
you know?
I
They've
also
grown so much, yeah.
And I love how the whole time. It's this like Jaws type
Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
where they never show it in its entirety until the end.
Yep.
Just like
And
Jaws.
it's just a dog.
And it's just a dog.
Yeah, and it's not even a bad dog.
Yeah.
It's not even, he's just,
Dogs bark at strangers. It's
Yeah.
just- it happens,
Exactly.
but it doesn't
That's it.
necessarily mean they're mean. I mean,
Yeah.
my tiny little wiener dog does that. But
Yeah.
then as soon as you get close enough, she's like, "Oh, a friend."
Yeah, and and
So-
when Benny runs, the dog chases him because it's like,
Yep.
oh, it's a
This
game.
is a
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
He's got the ball that would be fun to play with.
Yeah.
The Sandlot is the kind of movie that brings people together. It's not that it touches on shared experiences, because many of us might not have experienced the life portrayed in the movie. Instead, it brings shared feelings to the surface. Watching a group of kids stress about retrieving a baseball reminds us of what we cared about as children. Seeing this group of friends work together to solve one kid's problem reminds us of the friendships we forged in the past and how those bonds helped make us who we are. So if you ever need a little bit of summer, let The Sandlot bring you back to those exciting days filled with long hours of sunshine and getting into trouble with your friends. And if you still haven't had the chance to see it, give it a try. You might end up loving it forever.
Forever. Forever.
Oh, classic. Oh, thank you all so much for listening.
Yeah.
That is going to be a case closed. Beautiful. Love it.
Yes.
Thank you again. Before we go, we'd like to thank our patrons, John, JD, Anthony, Shelly, Bob, Jaron, and Jacob.
Yeah.
Thank you all so very much. We can't do this without you.
Nope.
If you want to follow us on social media, you can do that wherever you find us. Just go to blackcasediaries.com where you can find
You'll
the blog
find it there, yeah.
and all
Yep.
links to all the other stuff.
Oh yeah.
We've got all of our other episodes up there. Some old No Small Parts episodes if you want to catch up on those as well. If you want to leave us a review, that would be swell. You could become a patron as well. Patreon.com/blackcasediaries.
Yeah.
And we will see you next time.
See you next time. Bye-bye now. Bye now. Bye. Bye.
Bye.